Hello everybody, this is TechHut. In this video what I'm going to be doing is taking a look at the recently updated Garuda Linux. Now I've looked at this a couple times in the past, but they have recently undergone quite a few updates to the point that I think it's worth making a video about. And additionally, since I looked at it, since the last time I looked at this Dragonized version, there has been some visual improvements, so I'm going to be taking a look at that as well. Now the first thing that's in this new update is a new bootloader screen, but on this virtual machine it boots so quick I can only see it for half a second. So I'll try to find it and put it up on the screen, but if you don't see it right now, I was not able to find it. So first we have our login screen here. Let's go ahead and jump on into the system. And here we are. We've been through just about everything before. We have our Garuda welcome thing here, and you can see all the different animations. It has the blur background effect. So if I go ahead and close this window, the background will clear up a little bit. Overall, it is a visually impressive operating system, and it's one of the most resource-intensive operating systems as well, so you do need a decent computer if you're going to go ahead and install the Dragonized version of Garuda Linux. One thing, if you are interested, I did a separate video going over benchmarking of a 4 different Arch Linux distributions, including the XFCE of Garuda Linux. So there'll be a link if you'd like to check out that video. But first, getting into this new update. Now this update has been deemed as the Spotted Dragon update. Seems like they're kind of taking some influence from Ubuntu, giving it weird animal names. But if we go down here, you can see it has FireDragon. This is a new web browser that they went ahead and added to Garuda Linux. And what it actually is a fork of a fork. What this FireDragon browser is simply Librewolf, which I've talked about quite a bit recently as a wonderful Firefox-based web browser. It's fork of a fork, so it's a Firefox browser essentially, with a whole lot of privacy features. Overall, it is a wonderful web browser. It was actually included in my top Linux applications list that everybody should go ahead and check out. So this has been a new addition. One thing based on how they have KDE Plasma configured is if you go ahead and look up here, you have all your file, edit, all that stuff is included up here. I'm pretty sure if we go ahead and right click up there, we could go ahead and edit the panel and figure out exactly what that is. Yeah, it's just a LotTDoc extension. You can see it's the window app menu. So basically everything on here you could go ahead and configure if you don't like it as is. But one of the main reasons you would want to go ahead and go with this, how do I get out of here? I'm not too familiar with Lottie. Oh, it's down here. So let's close this out. There we go. Basically everything is configurable if you don't like it. But what I was going to say is the main point of going with Garuda Linux, and particularly this Dragonized version, is how they have everything customized and set up for you. But now that we have this open, what we can go ahead and do is go to the Garuda Linux forum, where we can see the announcement for this update. So on the forum, if I go over to announcements and go to their Spotted Eagle announcement, we can see a list of everything that has changed in all of the editions. And then down here, the edition specific changes are all listed here. One thing that's changed is if I go ahead and open up the console terminal here, -R, enter, we have the kernel version. So the kernel version that ships with Spotted Dragon is going to be the 5.12 Zen kernel. So that's pretty cool. We can go ahead and close this out now. If I go down here, we can see some of the things that are changed. So we have the Zen kernel, the boot animation, which I already mentioned. As far as their package management, they're going to be switching over to fixed releases with their packages, which will just increase overall stability and help them fix errors a lot quicker. People using hybrid graphic laptops can now use the Optimus Manager being used by default. So if you're somebody who has onboard graphics card or graphics GPU chip on your laptop and the internal processor graphics, you can easily switch back and forth in between that. Now, but like I said, the system does require a lot of resources, so they went ahead and added a requirement checker to make sure that people can actually run this. They do require 2.5 gigabytes of RAM on your system, which I do say, or I do agree that you absolutely need if you're going to be running this. Now, another update is they're more integrated with time shifts, so restoring snapshots is going to be a lot easier. And another application that they added is the Garuda Downloader. So downloading ISOs is now easier with their downloading tool. Now the downloader is an app image, so it's available for just about everybody. And there are some cool features such as people with bandwidth limitations because it can actually pull data from other ISO images, so it only downloads the actual changes that it needs, and it does this with the Z-Sync 2. Now, one thing I noticed is this tool it doesn't seem to be on here, so if I go downloader, it just doesn't show up. So they do have a link here. You probably have to go and download it, but I haven't really checked this out. Linux, so right here, Garuda downloader app image, and then it would download the app image and you go ahead and get that. But I was under the impression it came with it. So if I'm just missing it or if it's named something else, please let me know down in the comments below. But let's go ahead and go back and check out what else it comes with. Which, at least for all editions, the only other thing it's mentioning is FireDragon, which is this web browser that I have open here. So if I go down to help and I go to about FireDragon, you could see their icon here, the version number, it's version 1.0, and some licensing information, things like that. But it's basically Librewolf, which I do enjoy that is included by default. They didn't really need to rebrand it. I just think that's a little silly. It's a fork of a fork already. But they can really do whatever they want. It's all free and open source software for a reason. Now, going down to some of the edition specific changes, we see the Dragonized had some changes, mostly fixing the translucency effects, and by default they went ahead and disabled some of those. They gave the sweet themes and the Auti dock different presets and updated everything. And as you go through all these different versions, you can actually read specifically which ones are different. One important note is the Gnome Edition, which I actually took a look at a little bit ago. It says here, as the major Gnome 40 got released, this edition got a major overhaul. It doesn't feature any extensions anymore, as with their experience, it basically broke everything, because a lot of the things that made it unique with that Gnome version was the slew of different extensions and add-ons that they included with Gnome, and they didn't include any of those. So it's basically a vanilla Gnome distribution at the moment. So that's what happened with Gnome. So if you do watch that Gnome video, it's probably completely different than what I was showing you guys. One thing that was pretty sad is I wanted to check out this KDE Multimedia Edition. It's going to be maintained as a community edition, but when I went to go take a look at it, it was removed on their website and I didn't know why. So they did remove, they had a lot of different versions, and they removed the multimedia. They removed Cinnamon, Mate, Recbox have been removed from their official ISO list, but Cinnamon will return later as an official ISO, and the multimedia and Mate will be continued as community editions. So that's what's up with all their different editions. It's going to be nice to go ahead and take a look at those community editions in the future. And then if we go down under applications and settings, there has been a couple minor changes. First things first, there has been more icons added, so you'll get more of a visually fluid experience when it comes to that. The assistant can refresh keyrings, and now you can also switch shell options through there. Garuda Fish config, they went back to using NeoFetch, and then under servers and infrastructures, they added new repositories, and they have a new repository miner for their ISO. So that is really about it. Under this page, you can go ahead and get links to all of their downloads here. Now, depending on who you are, Garuda Linux is definitely a hit or miss. I will have links on the screen now to the other Garuda Linux videos that I've done if you're interested in checking those out, including the benchmarking one and checking out some of the custom ISOs. So with all that said, I do hope you have a wonderful day. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Like this video if you did, and goodbye.